shaking her fist and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be here. I brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Good rainy day to be here in South Alabama, East Alabama, Northeast Alabama, wherever we are today. Got two guests on the show. Both of them been on here before. We're going to talk about NARFE, N-A-R-F-E. Some of you know what it is. We'll explain that and some other things you need to get that pen to be ready when we come back. We've got Tom Smith and Jim Williams. Stay where you are. Be right back. Welcome back into Veterans Issues. Today we're going to talk about the group NARFE, the National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association. And I'm not going to repeat that over to you several times. Just remember it's NARFE. It's for veterans, military, and retirees. And we got to talk about something that's very important to any of you that fits into that category. We're going to welcome back to the show Tom Williams, who is a legislative officer for NARFE here, and Tom Smith, who is the chapter president. Did I get that right?
Jim Williams.
Jim Williams.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I got. When I read, I was reading Jim Williams and Tom Smith. Jim, welcome. Tom,
morning.
Welcome. Hi. I know it. I just can't say it. I could just. But this is hard work right here. You got to have a degree to do this stuff, man. I tell you. But anyhow, when I have you on, first of all, who wants to explain what NARFE is, what it does? I got some talking points on it, but I'd rather y'all just briefly tell the folks out there what NARFE is really all about.
NARFE is the National Active and Retired Federal Employees. It formerly was just for the retirees, but now it covers the active employees as well. And we have members all across the country. This is an organization that is to protect our benefits. We have offices in Washington, and we make a regular appearance on Capitol Hill to speak to our legislative folks up there and lobby on behalf of NARFE and to help just to retain the benefits that we earned while we were working.
That was the magazine, the NARFE magazine comes out. A lot of good information there. For the people like the retirees from Annis Army Depot or Fort McClellan, that's really the people really pay attention here. Military retirees,
Post Office,
Social Security,
agriculture, any of the federal organizations. Yeah.
Okay. And active duty military?
Right.
What about the people still working at Annis Army Depot?
Absolutely.
Social Security?
We're really trying to go after the active employees right now.
Because like in the, I see there was courting out there in Las Vegas, the unions that oversee the culinary thing. That's people that look out for their benefits and rights. For the people that we've talked about here, the groups that you talked about here, somebody's got to go to bat for them, because the people's out there working in the post office, the people's out there at the depot working today can't take off and go to Washington, D.C. and fight for the things that's happening. And they got some things that's threatening their benefit. I'm a retiree, so I'm interested in it. So I'm one of these guys that pick up the phone and call, because it affects me personally. Right. But if it's affecting me, it's affecting a whole lot of other people retired just like myself. So I got a lot of friends that two of them, both of my friends are retired military, and I've told them about this. And this is something that the TRICARE we're going to talk about briefly here is something that affects them too. But there's a bill in the legislature, HB 92, House Bill 92, that we want to talk about here today too, right?
Yes, right. And Jim's done a lot of research on that, so Jim's going to talk about that.
Tell me about that bill and how adversely it will affect the people we talk about.
All right. Well, House Bill 92 is actually a package of several bills, but it's really the only one that's of concern to retirees, civil service, military, particularly. Currently, Alabama is one of the few states that actually has an income tax exemption for all pension type funds. So if you're retired military, or you're retired civil service, you're retired from a private company, that has a regular pension plan where you, once you retire, you start drawing a regular monthly stipend over a lifetime, none of that's taxed. HB 92, House Bill 92 that's been introduced would remove that exemption. It would still, as I understand it, exempt Social Security payments, but any of the regular types of pension type of funds, whether it be civil service or private company or military retirement, would become taxable. There is an exemption for up to $50,000 for retirement income in that. That sounds like a lot of money, but by the same token, depending on when you retired and the combination of things, and also there's nothing in that to have that amount go up with inflation over time. So you have something like the alternative minimum tax that was passed at federal level back years and years ago. That was only designed to catch wealthy people. But as inflation, COLAs and things like that have come along, more and more people have crept up to the point where they exceed that threshold. So there's both a current threat, sort of House Bill 92, in ending that exemption for all those types of income that are currently exempt. There's also a future threat in that even though there's that 50,000 exemption there for now, if that doesn't go up, then more and more people, as their retirement income gets some kind of cost of living adjustment in, they're going to get caught into that. One thing I would like to emphasize on this, there is a lot of people retire in Alabama because of the fact that it does not tax these types of incomes. If this bill passes, Alabama will have the least favorable treatment of retiree income among all the surrounding states. So, over the last couple of years as things like this have come up, I've had more than a couple of people tell me they've got property in Georgia, they've got something down in Florida or whatever, up in Tennessee, they're not going to stay in Alabama.
Thank you.
And that's going to be a deterrent for people to retire in the state. Well, all those people who retire here, and there's 100,000 federal retirees currently in Alabama, and that's excluding military population. Those folks all bring money and talents into the state. If Alabama makes itself unattractive, they're going to go elsewhere. Alabama loses that.
These are people, excuse me, buying the groceries, paying all the taxes around it, and buying the fuel and feeding the economy. And anytime you lose any portion of your folks that are doing it, like when we lose jobs at the depot, that loaf of bread increases, that gallon of milk increases because it's based on the amount of sales. So if a store is losing a certain percentage of its customers, they've got to make up for it somewhere on the other. Let me, in this last minute, when you talk about a bill like that, and I really wonder about that, these people that introduce these bills, say if you introduce a bill that affects teachers, don't you think as a legislator you should talk with the teachers union or teachers before you introduce a bill like that? Wouldn't you do it as a legislator? Wouldn't feel like the right thing to do?
Well, I would, but I'm not a legislator.
I said if you were.
Yes.
To do the right thing. Because I'm on here so many times talking about bad legislation that affects people that if they just call us, and then they get mad at me, so, well, why didn't you just call me before you got putting your finger in the television like this? Like, we got to go to a break, come back, we're going to talk more about HB 92. I'm going to tell you who some of the sponsors are. Get that pen ready. So one of them is yours. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. We're talking with Jim Williams and Tom Smith, not Tom Smith Williams and Jim Smith, but Jim Williams and Tom Smith, and they're with NARF, and we're talking about some bad legislation that's traveling through the House now that affects a lot of people. Your veterans, your military, your retirees. I just hit somebody there, and the family of those people. That is, we tend to forget that. The guy that's like myself has got, I got responsibilities, I got family members I got to take care of. So it affects more than just the person that pulls a lever or drives a line to vote. Sometimes it affects the household that don't have a chance to vote. So this is what I want to do before we get back into that. I want to give the number that I want people to call. This is where you heard me talk about this bill that Senator Ward had for so long. I wore you out on it, and he pulled his legislation. Now, here's what I want you to do. You folks out there in Bessemer that watch every week, Clanton, all you people all around the state that watch this on ATTUverse or whatever, if you watch it on Facebook, on YouTube, whatever, here are the people that's named that you need to call. First of all, you need to write this number down. This is where the pen comes in handy. The number is 334-242-7624. And that's Emily Nichols, and she is the clerk for the House Ways and Means Committee, Education Committee down there in Montgomery. Again, that's 334-242-7624. That's the number you need to call. Now, if one of these people is your state representative, I'm going to give you their name so that you can call them personally and you can Google their name and find their number. So here they are: Bill Poole, Steve McMillan, James Buskey, Alan Baker, Alan Booth, Dunny Chestine, Terry Collins, Craig Ford up here in Etowah County, Danny Garrett, Jim Patterson, John Rogers over in Birmingham, Ron Scott, Patricia Todd over in Birmingham, Mark Tuggle, Phil Williams, and the bill sponsor is Lynn Greer. Now here's Lynn Greer's email address. Are you ready? Y'all got your pens ready? All right, here, write this down. Lynn, Lynn dot Greer, Greer, symbol at AL House, symbol for Alabama House, alhouse.gov. Lynn.Greer at alabamahouse.gov. Now you need to call her or email her and tell her to stop this HB 92, the bill HB 92, because it will harm military, retirees, and if they and veterans. If they don't, if they want a better explanation, that you tell them to call me. My number's on the screen here somewhere, and I'll explain to them how it hurts. So that's what I need to enlist you to do out there. And now let's go where you didn't know I was going to give out all them names, but I want everybody to, somebody out there watching's got a representative there that's doing it. So tell me more about HB 92.
Okay. Well, that pretty much covers the one positive of HB 92, besides the fact that it would exempt up to $50,000. That is per person. If you're a married couple filing jointly, it would allow, depending on how the income comes in, it would allow up to a $100,000 exemption. But here's how that works. If both spouses had worked and have retired income, then each one can claim up to $50,000. Now that sounds good on the face of it, but if you're like a lot of traditional, I'll call them traditional families, where you have one spouse that's basically going out and earned all the bread, and the other spouse stayed home and took care of the family, whatnot, then that person's not going to get any credit whatsoever. So anything that the one spouse has over $50,000 is all going to be taxable. Okay, so it's very unequal in the way that it affects things.
Well, I've been single for a lot of years. You're not going to convince me to go get married just so I can have that deduction there. Tom, you're over the chapter out there. Now, NARF is a membership organization.
Correct.
And to be a member, you have to be what? Retired?
You can be an active federal civil servant, which means you work for any of the number of government agencies, or you can be a retiree from any of those agencies. And we don't turn down applications from anybody who is interested in the same purposes that we are, and that is to protect our earned benefits.
And if they're a member, they get one of these.
They get the magazine. Yeah, every member gets the magazine.
You got one just like mine.
Yeah, just like yours. This is the current
From the
magazine.
same place.
And for all the folks in the state of Alabama, this is fairly new for us. We've been doing this about 3 years now, I think it is. We have our own newspaper that goes to every member in the state. It keeps them abreast of all of the information that they need relative to their benefits and what's happening, such as HB 92.
Well, when you, in this day and time, everything's politics. We hear the people running for president, they talk about the PAC, political action committees. NARF is a PAC too.
We have a PAC.
And
It's
you're
separate
saying-
and apart from
yeah.
the membership.
But you have to have those, because if you notice, the candidates talk about, well, his PAC's running an ad on me, his PAC's running an ad on me, so they get attention. You don't want a PAC putting an ad out on you. And this is one of the things, the power, it's a necessary evil that you have to have. Would you agree?
Well, I like to look at it this way. There are two things that I think your legislative folks, your congressmen and so forth are interested in, or that drives them to listen to you. And that is if you represent large numbers of people or if you represent large amounts of money.
Yeah.
And that's where our NARF PAC comes in. If we have large amounts of money there, then they're interested in hearing what we have to say.
See, if you go out here and you call Craig Ford up in Etowah County, and you live in Etowah County, Southside, whatever you do, and you say, I'm your constituent, I want that, I don't want you supporting HB 92. Craig Ford will probably call Lynn Greer and say, remove my name off of it. I don't want to be a part of it. I do not want to be a part of hurting the people that's earned us retirement and that kind of thing.
Well, let me clarify one thing. The names that you read here, these are all the members of the House Ways and Means Education Committee. Yeah, that's where the bill is at this point. So
yeah, but they need to
yes,
know.
absolutely.
They need to know the yay or no's, yay or nays. And so if you tell Craig Ford would, and what I've found dealing with the legislature is they appreciate somebody telling them which way to go. I've got representatives that I've had to text them while they're on the floor to remind them that bill comes up, because what way am I supposed to go on it? What am I supposed to do on it? Because they got so many guns shooting from different ways, we got to remind them on that. Now, TRICARE is another situation, federal. What's going on there? And I saw that there's a increase proposed.
Okay, what that is, again, this is federal level, not the
Right.
state, but in the defense budget for 2017 that's been submitted to Congress, there's a proposal to change the whole TRICARE system. And if, like in my case, I'm retired military, so I've got TRICARE for life. This change would take place in 2017, actually take effect in 2018.
All right, here's what I need you to do, and we're running out of time.
Okay.
I need you to write this number down, 202-224-3121. Tell them you need to speak to your congressman. His name is Mike Rogers from 3rd District. 202-224-3121. Tell him you do not want the increase, the TRICARE in the budget. We just went through so much time here, probably left about 2 shows on the table. Tom, thank you for coming, man.
Thanks.
Jim,
Thanks.
thank you so much. And I appreciate y'all doing it. Keith,
Thank
thanks
you.
for fighting for those that are not aware. It's not that they wouldn't fight, that they're just not aware of what needs to be done, and I'm sure we'll get some calls on that. Thank y'all again for doing what you do to take care of us.
Thank you.
We got to go. Come back. I've got news you use, some good stuff, so stay where you are. Get the pen. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. This is the news you can use. I appreciate Tom Smith and Jim Williams coming on today and enlighten us about NARF. Now remember to program this in your GPS so that when you go to Birmingham, you'll know where the new clinic is, and new parking deck, 2415, 2415 7th Avenue South, and the new women's clinic there. And we're going to have the director and the public affairs people down here in the next few weeks. So if you got some questions you want me to ask the director, you can private message me on Facebook, or you can text me with my phone number to show on the screen here. And you can send me a text message, you can email me, you can drive down my street and holler at me, and you might get shot. But anyhow, if you got some questions for the director or something about the VA over there, if you got something about the choice program, that'd be a good time to give me your question. Now, this is something that I've been talking about for 3 or 4 years, and we're finally going to see it happen. This Friday, the 26th of February at 1 p.m., for your Marines, that's a little hand on 1, the big hand on 12. I got you, didn't I? I'm going to get in trouble over that. Anyhow, it's at 1 o'clock in Centennial Memorial Park at 17th and Quintard. We're going to dedicate the official Law Enforcement Memorial for the state of Alabama, the Alabama Law Enforcement Memorial. Luther Strange will be there. U.S. Attorney Joyce Nance will be there, and a lot of other people. I'll even be there. I think I'm emceeing the thing. So that's a big deal. We're going forward. And that law enforcement tag that you've been buying, a percentage of that has been going toward this, and that's how we're able to build this memorial, is a few folks that's been purchasing that tag. Thank you so much for doing that. And that is an awesome, a lot of people, that tag is recognized all over the United States as a memorial to the law enforcement and the attack that they're under here for the last year or so. We got a picture of the tag. I want you to, look at that. That tag goes with any color automobile, and it's one of the fastest moving sellers in the state of Alabama. I noticed on Facebook people telling I put it on my Jeep, I put it on my truck, I put it wherever. It goes with everything, and the money went toward building this memorial. So you did good by doing that. Now remember something else, a sad part of what we do here, that I need to remind you that 22 veterans killed themselves yesterday, took their own lives. Tonight, as you lay your head down on the bed, there'll be 22 more. We're going to 22 veterans killing themselves every day. And there's things that you can do in the community. There's things that you can do in your churches. You can't do anything about it out in the lines at Walmart and different places like that, but there are ways that you can help. And if you'll give me a call, text message me, I'll give you some ideas. But their backs are against the wall, and there's a reason for a lot of it. So, and the Kia stores are giving a 20% off of parts and labor, and that ends the 28th. So we got about a couple more days, and we'll be through with that. That's 20% off for law enforcement, firefighters, all first responders, and veterans on parts and labor. As I told you, the Senate Bill 51, Cam Ward has removed the part about the veterans, and the unearmarking, so we're not going to be worried about that. We still need drivers for the DAV van to take people to the slobber in there. We need drivers to take veterans to the VA hospital, and give me a call if you're interested in driving the van. Volunteer driving the van. There's no pay in it. A lot of people call and say, I want that job, and I have to tell them it's no charge. Okay, this week's salute goes out to the fellow that made this wall possible. His name is Bill Partridge, the Chief of Police of Oxford. And he's, by that, designing that tag and putting it out there, that was the way he did it. Thank you, Bill Partridge, for making that happen. We'll see you next week here on Veterans Issues. Salute.